Hello, my friends, and welcome to the Torah Outreach Program, Erev Shabbos Burst of Inspiration. Last week's video was dedicated as a zechus, a merit, for two soldiers, Yoel Eliyahu ben Devorah Velya and Zev Eliezer ben Devorah Velya. I sponsored those videos myself, but their mother this week was so happy about the sponsorship, she decided to sponsor the next 2 weeks for these same two soldiers. So may the Torah that is learned from this video be a mogain, a shield, and Yeshua and salvation for these two special soldiers, all of our soldiers in Eretz Yisrael, and all of our hostages. May they all come home healthy and happy soon. This week's Parsha, this week's Torah reading. Hashem says to Moshe, go to Pharaoh, because I hardened his heart, and warn him that he needs to let the Jewish people go, or I will bring the next plague. But don't worry, I hardened his heart. So, I don't understand. I hardened his heart, which means he's not going to listen to you, but go and warn him anyway. Either don't tell him this piece of information that I hardened his heart, or don't tell him to go because it's a waste of his time. Why are you saying, I hardened his heart, don't worry, go and tell him off anyway? So, I'd like to explain this with a mashal, a parable, that I remember reading and saying this over a few years ago, and it's so appropriate for today's day and age. There was once this young boy, 7-year-old little boy, who was in line for a haunted house. Now, this haunted house was famous for being the scariest, spookiest haunted house in the country. So much so that there was a sign up, no one under the age of 18 is allowed. And warning, anyone with a heart condition or a nervous condition should not go. Everybody else who's in line is seeing this little boy, and they're trying to convince him and ask, like, why do you want to do this? And he's ignoring everybody until somebody comes over to him and tries to talk some sense into him. Excuse me, why do you want to go to this haunted house anyway? And the little boy smiles, and he says, my father owns and controls this haunted house. When I go inside, I know it's all my father pushing the buttons. And if I get too scared, all I have to do is cry out, Daddy, I'm scared. And he'll turn on the lights. That's what Hashem was telling Moshe. Don't be afraid. I'm the one who hardened his heart. I'm the reason he's not going to listen to you. I want you to tell him. I want you to warn him. But realize you're going through the emotions, but I'm the one in control. Isn't this very much like today? It's not only Pharaoh. It's everything in life. It's everything in life. We go through the motions. We go through this very scary, dark world. And we have to remember, Hashem's in control. And all we have to do is realize that he can turn on the lights at any time he wants. There's never a reason to be afraid. There is a pasuk, a verse from the Torah, that is, I could say, and my children will definitely say, my favorite verse in the Torah. And I've quoted it here on these videos many, many times. And that is, Ata hareis ladas, you have seen in order to know, ki Hashem hu Elokim, Hashem is God. Hashem is in control. Ein od milvado, there is no one else besides him. There is no other power. that can hurt us. There's no other power that can help us except for Hashem. Now, there's a famous story. Actually, there's a famous segula, a blessing, from Rav Chaim Volozhin, the prime disciple of the Vilna Gaon. And he said, if you're ever in trouble and you have no place to turn, or you're just scared, just put it in your heart. Push everything else out of your mind. Your troubles, your worries, let everything go and focus on one thing. Ein od milvado. There's nothing else besides Hashem. There's a story of the Brisker Rav, Rabbi Yitzchak Soloveitchik, who was trying to get out of Europe at the beginning of the war. And he packed his family up in a wagon and he started heading towards the border. And his children asked him, how can we get out? We have no documentation, we have no visas, we have no papers, we have nothing. And in a time of war, the Soviet Union was shooting people that try to get out without proper visas. And he answered his family, I want you to just repeat to yourself over and over and over again and focus on one thing. Ein od milvado. There is nothing else besides him. And as they got closer to the border, Rav Soloveitchik kept repeating, Ein od milvado, Ein od milvado, Ein od milvado. And as the border guard came closer and closer to the wagon, going through other people's papers, some people were let over if they had all the proper papers, some were sent home, some were sent to Siberia, and some were shot on the spot. And they got closer to Rav Soloveitchik's wagon, and he's repeating, Ein od milvado, Ein od milvado. He gets close, and the guard gets close enough, then he says, papers, please. Rav Soloveitchik answers, Ein od milvado. He gets even closer, and he raises his voice, papers, please. Rav Soloveitchik answers, Ein od milvado. He gets right in front of him, he says, papers, please. Rav Soloveitchik answers, Ein od milvado. Finally, the soldier, the guard, loses it. He pulls his pistol out of the holster. He puts it onto Rav Soloveitchik's head, pulls back the hammer, and he says, papers now. Rav Soloveitchik doesn't flinch, doesn't blink, doesn't turn his head. He says, as calmly as before, Ein od milvado. The soldier rammed his gun back into the holster and yelled, you stupid old man, get out of here! And he went over the border. When we say Ein od milvado, what we're saying is when we turn on the lights and we see the way things really are, we realize the truth is it's all a facade and God's in charge. When I was a little boy, I was very much afraid of the dark. My parents would put me in my room to go to bed. They'd turn out the lights, and my dresser looked like a big monster in the middle of the room. The clothes in my closet looked like snakes hanging off of a branch. And I was sure the boogeyman had permanent residence under my bed. And I would start crying and yelling. My father would come in, turn on the lights, and I would look around the room. There was no monster. It was my dresser. There were no snakes. And the boogeyman was not under my bed. But when the lights are off, things are scary. But when we see the light, we realize things are not so scary anymore. We actually turn the lights on every week. In every Jewish home, we light Shabbos candles. Some 18 minutes, some 40 minutes, some 20 minutes, but before Shabbos, we light Shabbos candles. We turn on the lights. And for the next 24 to 25 hours, we see the world with the lights on. We see the world without all the scary shapes and the scary ideas. We see the world as it is, a world of Ein Od Milvado. God's in charge. There's nothing to worry about. But what do we do after Shabbos? Shabbos is over. The lights are gone? No. Because there's another service that we perform at the end of Shabbos called Havdalah. And when we make Havdalah, we light a much bigger candle. It's like a torch with many wicks. Because we're not just lighting up that day, but we're shining the light. We're learning the lessons of Shabbos and shining it into the rest of the week to give us strength and light up our week to know Ein Od Milvado for the rest of the week until we need to recharge again on Shabbos. Years and years ago when I was a child, I was taught a song with those words. I taught it to my own children at scary times when I would take them camping at night. I would teach it to students around campfires. I really would like to have it incorporated into the Shabbos miros, the Shabbos songs that we sing around the table, because it's so much the theme of Shabbos. I would also like something else. And if you're a soldier listening to this, do me a favor. I know you sing songs when you're sitting around or when you're marching. Sing this song. Sing this song. It goes like this. Atahare saladas ki Hashem hu Elokim atahare saladas ki Hashem hu Elokim Ein Od Milvado Hashem hu Elokim Ein Od Milvado Hashem hu Elokim. Good Shabbos.